Hello and welcome to the Sports Doin. This is Kushagra here, and we are here with a brand new badminton review and badminton analysis show. Of course, first let me introduce our analysts for today. We've got Medha and Aditi. Very warm welcome to you guys. You guys must have seen Medha and Aditi on our OST platform, and of course, you've seen Medha with her updates otherwise as well. So first of all, thank you so much for joining me here. And since this is the first time we are doing a video this year, so Happy New Year to the both of you.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Wish you the same.
Yeah. So all right, guys, just for our viewers, we've just seen one of the matches of the year already, and this is just the third week of the year. We've seen Tai Tzu Ying come back from near impossible situation in the semi-finals yesterday, and we've seen some fantastic matches. On today was the finals day of the Thailand Open, the second Thailand Open that has happened. Funny times, isn't it, guys? Who would have thought we would have had same tournaments back to back? Like, yes, ऐसा तो कभी हुआ ही नहीं आज तक. So it's just this just the realities of COVID, I guess. Uh,
Right.
to start us off, guys, I'll come to you, Medha. We saw a women's doubles final, right? We saw essentially a Korea versus Korea final. So if you could tell me and tell the viewers, what the results were and how did you see that match?
So yes, like you said, it was a Korea versus Korea final in the women's doubles, and the fourth seed Kim So-young and Kong Hee-young won the match. So the scoreline was like really close, 21-18, 21-19. I think it was beautifully fought. In the absence of the Japanese and Chinese, who have a very strong hold in doubles, I think the next strong force is Korea, and they quite did justice to that by winning the title here. I think it's notable to mention that the third seed who came into the final, they beat Gracia Poli and Apriyanu Rahayu from Indonesia, who had won the title last week. I think they were absolutely brilliant last week, but unfortunately they lost in the semi-finals this time.
All right. Moving on from the women's doubles, on the men's doubles side, how was the tournament for the men's doubles, men's pairings on those sides? Aditi and Medha, if the both of you could tell us about that as well. You could start with Aditi, and then we can go to Medha.
The men's doubles was also, I think it was almost a one-sided affair because the Malaysians were not going up to the mark against Li Yang and Wong Chi Lin. But I would like to mention especially about the Indian players who've played really well, especially Satwik Sairaj and Chirag Shetty. They've been playing some phenomenal badminton in the past 2 weeks. They've been making some major upsets. I think both these young players are at the peak of their careers. They've been given exposure, they've been given the right training, and now we're seeing performances in the men's doubles category, especially after a very long time. We've had performances in the singles category, in the singles category for both men and women, but doubles was something which was lagging behind, and I think Chirag and Satwik are now doing justice to what was missing in the Indian badminton. Yeah.
Truly, I
All right.
agree with Aditi
Yeah,
that,
yeah, Medha, please. I
it's
was going
been
to
a
come for you.
really,
Come to you for the comments. Yeah. Please
it
carry
was
on.
a
Please carry
really
on.
close match, like 21-18, 24-22 against Aaron Shia and So Wui Yik. I hope I'm getting your name right, sir. So they've played really well. I mean, I think this is one of the best results doubles has produced, because we had two singles players and two pairs in a semi-final of a Super 1000 event. I think this is really remarkable for doubles in badminton in India. So yeah, kudos to them.
Yeah, and just as a personal note as well, Satwik and Chirag are two people I also have really closely followed. We'll move on to the mixed doubles, and I'm sure both of you will talk about Satwik all over again in this particular category as well. But it's just as a viewer, as a fan, it is just fantastic to see. We've finally got a men's pairing, जिन पे हम लोग बैंक कर सकते हैं, जिनसे हम लोग
They've
जाके
got
फ्यूचर
great
में we can have
potential.
yes, expectations
Yeah.
रखी जा सकती हैं Aditi. That's the thing. हम लोग का I don't think we ever were in this scenario जब हम लोग अपनी doubles teams, except for a period when Jwala Gutta and Ashwini Ponappa were amongst the top
Right.
4, top 5 teams in the world. But beyond that, at least in the last 15-20 years, मैंने ऐसा देखा ही नहीं कि we expect anything out of our doubles players, because unfortunately our doubles teams used to lose in the very first rounds. And in Satwik and in Chirag, we've we've seen two young men who are more than capable of holding their own. And let's hope, fingers crossed, let's hope, they can graduate to even better, from quarterfinals, they can go to the semifinals and finals levels. If that happens, then that will be fantastic for doubles badminton in India.
They have a big
Talking
chance
about,
at Olympics as well.
Yeah, I
yes,
agree.
yes.
I
If,
agree.
if they get a good draw, if they get a good draw, they can be medal hopes. They can genuinely be
Definitely.
medal hopes. Yeah.
Definitely.
And talking about medal hopes, I'm sure Ashwini and Satvik will be considering themselves as outside medal hopes in mixed doubles also, right? In Tokyo. So, Medha, if you could start us off there, then I'll come to Aditi about their performance, and of course also the eventual winners of the mixed doubles as well.
I can't tell enough about how well Satvik and Ashwini played this tournament. I mean, in the semi-final, they lost to the first seed, Deja Poland Subsidy, in a three-setter. The first two games was extremely close. It was 21-18, 24-22. I mean, it was I was literally on the edge of my seat watching that match. But somewhere in the third set, in the second half, after the interval, I think Ashwini, Ponappa, and Satvik, maybe they lost their nerve or lost focus, but they couldn't really keep the shuttle in play. And they were making way too many errors, which, caused them to lose that match. But otherwise, I think they were capable of defeating that pair on that day because they'd been playing some phenomenal badminton. Ashwini is a really good mover on court. She's got great interception, great power. Even they can play a little bit different from traditional mixed doubles where the woman is always in the front. She because she's good mover and she's got that power and she's got a good attack from backcourt. They can really uh, shuffle and move around well, giving Satvik more time to place his smashes, getting him better lifts so that he can create more openings and finish as well. So I think that's a really good way they've played. Mixing up their shots, moving around well. So yeah,
I
All
kind of
right.
agree to what Medha said.
Yeah. Yeah, I was coming to you only,
Yeah.
Aditi. Please carry on.
Okay. I'm saying I just agree to what Medha is saying. Satvik and Ashwini are a very good combination in a sense because even when Ashwini used to play women doubles, Medha must agree to what I'm saying with Jwala Gatta. She was the one who used to cover the back court completely. Like Jwala used to be in the front court and Ashwini used to be at the back court with the powerful smashes and she used to move around so quick. So Satvik has got that option wherein he doesn't need to stick around to just the back court because his co-player is such good in terms of not just movement but also in terms of power of the smash speed as well. So this is a combination, which can break apart from the traditional mixed doubles badminton, wherein the girl has to be in the front court and the boy has to be at the back court. Ashwini can play well at the front court and the back court as well. So in fact, they've been playing some phenomenal badminton. The semi-finals in the was quite close. The match was quite close. So yeah, Ashwini and Satvik are doing pretty good.
Yeah, and as both of you mentioned, the fact that there is a little bit of versatility in their game that will eventually allow them to switch and change tactics mid-match, which can actually be effective in a close match going ahead. And let's not forget they've not played that much of mixed doubles together. They've started
Exactly.
out in the last couple of years, and unfortunately last year, as you both know, has been hampered without any badminton only. So I'm pretty sure if they play more tournaments, we will see even better performances from the both of them. And once again, fingers crossed, Inca, trajectory keeps going the way it has been going. And, maybe 6 months down the line, we might be talking about titles. You never know. And that will be amazing. Once again, mixed doubles is also not an arena where we've done that well either historically. So really,
Yeah.
really nice and positive signs in that particular, that particular situation for India. And now that, we're going to come to the marquee events, the women's singles and the men's singles. Let's start with the women's singles because I did slightly hint towards it in the introduction. And first of all, a huge congratulations to Carolina Marin. The champ keeps coming back, and it's going to be very interesting between her and Tai Tzu Ying. Who's going to take that gold in Tokyo? Because it's going to be very, very interesting. Carolina looks back in top form, and she took the title today. Straight sets, straight games. She took the title, and that was quite a good match. Before I come to you, Medha, I'll go to you, Aditi. A little word on
Mhm.
the final between Carolina Marin and Tai Tzu Ying, and then Medha, I'll come to you for an overall word on Tai Tzu Ying because I am sure yesterday's match had an impact on today's result.
Mhm. I think in the finals, Carolina Marin was dominating Tai Tzu Wing. The first game was still close around 21-19. But in the second game, the first half, it was 11-3. Marin was leading 11-3 and Tai had no answers to her pace. The pace at which Carolina Marin was playing, Tai Tzu Wing had no answers for it. And coming that from a player who survived an injury which almost lasted 6 months, and she's here back winning back-to-back titles in the previous Thailand Open and now here in the Toyota Thailand Open again. It was phenomenal. The way she was attacking, the way she was handling all the deceptions of Tai Tzu Wing, Carolina Marin was totally dominating the game. In the second half of the second game, Taizu Wing did manage to, get back a couple of points. That she did manage to, save a few match points. But no, Marin was the one who came out as a winner, and she was totally dominating the game. Be it in terms of defense, be it in terms of attack, be it in terms of accuracy as well. Because what I figured from the entire game was Taizu Wing was making a lot of unforced errors, and Marin was kind of, making sure she's gaining points from making the right judgments, making the right shots. So she was totally ruling the game this time. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Coming to you, Medha. What about the fantastic marathon semi-final that Tai Tzu Ying had yesterday? Of course, very very unlucky. Very unlucky for her opponent yesterday to have lost out. But surely, given both the tournaments are back to back, and we've seen Carolina have the top hand in both the tournaments now, do you think what impact will it have for the rest of the year?
Definitely, it will have a major impact because I agree to what Aditi said, especially talking about Carolina Marin in the final. It's a fact. Let's take it. Marin is in great form. Her pace is at another level right now. But I like to point out here that Tai Tzu Ying, Nozomi Okuhara are the kind of players uh, who can match pace, who can keep up pace with Carolina Marin. And I found that Tai Tzu Ying hasn't been able to do that, but probably due to fitness issues. Like even last Sunday, she was sick, which is why it was an utter disaster. Last Sunday's game. All credits to Marin for how she's played. There has been no mistakes from her side, but Tai Tzu Ying has not really played well. She easy shots which are coming to her hand, which she has reached, she's pushing them long. That's what it happened even today, but it was slightly better as in she seemed to get back in focus in between and gain some points. But like you mentioned, it does get me to wonder whether it is something to do more psychologically even for Tai Tzu Ying, because this is the second time she's played so bad against Carolina Marin. Because last week she was sick, so there's nothing much you can talk beyond that. But this week, after having come back 16-20 down in the third set, having lost the first set 21-12, you come back 16-20 down against the home favorite, the fourth seed. You win the game 23-21, and needless to say, it was a very, very long match. It lasted almost an hour. So
Yeah.
you got to be really fit to play that kind of a match.
Right.
You got to be really fit. And of course, it requires some amount of mental fitness as well, because you need to really keep your focus in the match and have that self-belief that, yes, you can do it. And errors were less. So when you've played such a match, but what's causing you to lose in the final hurdle? I mean, it could be two things. Either she's totally drained out after that marathon match, or she just probably has some kind of a lack of belief in playing her strokes on that day. She's not a player known to have like much pressure on herself, but somehow that seems to be the case. Looking at how she's played in the final, because it was, the amount of errors were really surprising. So
Yeah,
if things
and
go like this, I think it'll affect her confidence levels, and that will definitely hamper her preparations for the Tokyo Games.
yeah, and considering that you told me that Tai Tzu Ying could hang up her boots after
Oh,
these
she
particular
stated
Olympic
that.
Games. Yes, she stated that,
Yeah.
and which would honestly Tai Tzu Ying. I know, Tai. I'm pretty sure you're not watching this, but through whatever fans that you have all over the world, please reconsider your decision. We don't want another beyond box situation of someone going out on the top. her domination of the women's game has been unreal for the past few years. And only now when we see Carolina Marin actually coming up, this is sort of a Roger Rafa situation that is developing in with the women's game, and we want them to go head to head for the next few years. And and maybe Sindhu comes into the mix as well. Hopefully, if she can overcome all the injury hurdles and everything else that she's faced over the past year or so, maybe the three of them can take the women's singles game to even higher heights. We don't know. So let's hope that all three of them stay healthy and fit, and especially the two ladies that we've spoken about today, that the game they both make sure कि दोनों का game raise होता रहे the more they compete against each other. So that's something we're hoping for as fans. Coming to the final.
I'd like to add here, but I do think she's capable of making a comeback. This could be momentary.
100%. I have no doubt.
Things being with the COVID situation, things could be uncertain due to lack of match practice or things like that. But it definitely is worrisome, like this kind of a result back to back. So I think it should have been better despite fitness issues, or maybe she needs to focus a little bit and get that right on track again.
All right. Coming to the final category of the review, of course, the men's singles. I'll start with you, Aditi, here. The men's singles, of course, is an area where we as Indians are always nostalgic, aren't we? We've seen past greats. We've even in this particular tournament, we had a man, even though he was briefly number one, he was number one in the world, and he comes from India. And he's the man who's now making his real comeback, really, I think, Kidambi Shrikant. And not just Shrikant, we've got the Verma brothers as well, and few other young prospects as well. So how, not just from India's perspective, how did you see the men's singles draw, and talk about a little word on the final as well?
I think now gone are the days when Chinese contingent was only the contingent who used to rule. Like thinking about Olympics 2012, 4 out of the 5 titles were won by the Chinese, be it men's singles, be it women's singles, be it the doubles category. It was Chinese ruling all over. Now, as the badminton has evolved, even though Chinese are not participating in this particular tournament, but I'm not talking about this particular tournament, but I'm talking about generally in badminton. A lot of countries have evolved, especially Denmark. Now we've seen in all, there were those finalists from the same particular country who were playing. In fact, there was one more person who was playing who was in the semi-finals as well. So it was an all Danish final that we witnessed in this particular tournament. But Victor Axelsen dominated the game. It was one-sided. There was no scope for his opponent to win any rally as well. Even in rallies where he was kind of at the back foot, he made sure that he was dominating the rally. Be it his attacks, be it his defense, be it his amazing net play. Victor Axelsen was all over the game, all over the game.
Yeah, and a little word on Victor Axelsen as well, Medha, but also on his opponent, because I feel if I'm not getting his name wrong, it's Anderson.
Yeah.
In the final, it was Hans Christian Vittingus.
Oh yeah, Vittingus. Sorry, Anderson lost in the semi-final. Yeah.
He played with him in the semi-final.
Yeah, they played in the semis. Sorry, I got the players mixed up. But that just shows how powerful the Danish setup is, isn't it? Because they've gotten some fabulous players there, and for the upcoming team events, you got the Thomas and Uber Cup that you have, and all of the other badminton categories. Surely Denmark is going to be a major threat.
And another fun fact I'd like to add is, so Vittingus basically thought he was not being able to play the tournament because his name was in the reserve list, and a couple of players withdrew because of the COVID scenario going on, and finally he was able to play in the tournament. And he actually had a flight before finals, and he was like, now I have to reschedule my flight because I could not imagine myself playing the finals. So that's how amazing this whole all Danish final is. A player who, at some point was not even qualified to play the tournament. He was in the reserve list, is now actually playing the finals. So yeah, that's how different, and that's how, surprising the game could turn out to be, and the results could turn out to be.
Also, adding to what Aditi said, Hans Vittingus is probably the first and only player in the history of World Tour, to have been promoted from the reserve list and
Deserved
made it
it.
to the finals. So this
Yeah.
is a record that he's created today. And another record was scripted today, that being Victor Axelsen completes a Grand Slam of Super 1000 titles in one World Tour calendar year. So kudos to the Danes today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just for our viewers, what Mehta means is he's now won every particular tournament at least once, right, Mehta?
All the Super Thousands that has been
Yes, all
conducted
the
in
Super
one
Thousands.
World
Yes.
Tour. Like, yeah.
All right. Oh, that's fantastic, actually. And let's not forget, he's such a young man still. I mean, Victor Axelsen is still, I think if you talk about, people reaching their peaks, there may be a couple of years more of growth left in Victor Axelsen. And it's just scary how dominant he will be when he's at his peak, right?
Exactly.
And we in India have
Exactly.
special love, Victor, of course, after his continuous attempts at the Indian Open, then when he finally won it, he comes to Delhi, he'll get all the love. I know he does when he plays at Siri Fort. There are youngsters who carried the Danish flag just for Victor. So he's got all the love and support from India, and long may his rise continue. Just that Victor, when you play Kidambi, I just hope Kidambi wins, man. Like no hard feelings, but yeah, that's always going to be there. But
I think
yeah,
Victor has got a great deception when it comes to men's singles. Usually men's singles, it's more of strength, power, speed. But Victor Axelsen has got that grace when he plays. He moves around the court. He glides around the court. And
Yeah,
his
yeah, yeah.
footwork is so clean. Like it's just two steps. His court awareness is fabulous. Like he knows how he should move, how much he should move. His wrist work is absolutely fabulous. I like totally love his cross court strokes. I mean, they're so sharp. They just find the lines. It's amazing, truly amazing the way he plays. I think he totally dominated Hans Fittingus today, like without breaking a sweat.
Yeah.
And he's the embodiment of the term. He's a gentle beast, isn't it? He's a huge
Definitely.
man. For such a
Yeah.
huge man to have such good footwork is fantastic. And why I say he's a
Defense
gentle beast,
too.
because his defense and everything. I think he's a complete player. His all-round game is fantastic, and I think you can see him being amongst the top two, top three players maybe for a decade. For the coming decade, it could be to his decade. 2020s could be his Victor Axelsen's decade. So we'll all wait and see that. So I think that about sums it up for us for this particular Thailand Open review. Guys, we will be back with of course, the World Tour finals, which had been pushed back. Their draw will be coming out soon. So hopefully, once we have the draw, and as I think Medha, you were trying to point out something, is it?
Yeah, I mean, Samir Verma deserves a special mention here for
All
the
right, yes.
amazing game that he played this week. He lost in the semi-final quarter-final to the third seed Ander Antonsen from Denmark, but I must say it was absolutely fabulous. His attack was so on point. Aditi, you might be able to relate to this. Like you do the smash tap drill, right? When you train.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was
Yeah.
he was attacking as if somebody was feeding him shuttles, and he was just killing, like smashing it there at the net already, ready to kill the next shuttle. I mean, that was spot on in his game against Anders Antonsen. But I'd say it was just hard luck that he lost 22-20 with a couple of minor errors, but which cost him very dear. But I think he's played the best badminton of his life. It was truly phenomenal. I mean, I don't think there were any major shortcomings in that game from him.
True.
All right, Saurabh Banerjee is of course one of the shining lights of Indian men's tennis, and badminton. Wow, what is wrong with me? Indian men's badminton. I'm sorry for the error there, but yeah, so we can hope. It's not just him; his brother as well. His brother also I think he's been slightly unlucky with a few injuries, with a few draws as well. Beyond that, men's side is something that we've been slightly disappointed in, maybe in the last year or maybe last year, 2 years. So it's good to see all these young men back on their feet, after having gotten the rest that they needed with respect to their injuries. I think it's still early days in the badminton circuit, isn't it? Because people are getting match practice now, finally. I feel all these players who were playing in Denmark and maybe to an extent in Korea and Japan as well, at least they were playing their domestic circuits. They were playing their domestic tournaments. At least national tournaments were going on. Medha, you and I discussed something about the Danish national championships when Axelsen lost, right? Did he lost? Did he lose to Anders? Is it?
No, I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I think I'll confirm that and get back to our viewers about that. But I think he lost the final there in the domestic national championships in Denmark. But coming back to this, guys, once again, as I was mentioning earlier, the draw for the World Tour Finals hopefully should be out soon. Once it is out, we'll make a preview, sort of a preview video for it, and we'll try to get that to you as soon as possible. Up until then, thank you so much once again, Aditi and Medha, for joining me here. It's been wonderful to have your analysis and have your expertise for this particular tournament, and we'll keep calling on you guys more as the tournaments keep going on throughout this year. Do keep safe. Do take care, the both of you, and and for all people, do subscribe to the Sports Joy and do share this video around. Especially if you've got friends, if you've got family who are interested in badminton, it's really going to be an exciting time for world badminton. We've got lots of tournaments back to back, and just keep it locked to your television screens or your portable devices, whatever you watch on, and keep it locked to the Sports Joy as well for all things badminton. And we'll see you soon.